everybody. Really appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is my first trip to Hull. It's been a great opportunity to come here and see all of the energy behind smart cities. We've spent some time talking about smart cities, and we've been talking about the different sensors. Marcus was just up here talking about the framework for adopting smart cities, and I want to bring all that together, but for a very specific topic, and that being safe smart cities. Now, we all know how technology has evolved, and this has happened in the public safety space as well. We started off with pole boxes and fixed phones, and now we have moved through to the cell phones and that mobile lifestyle. Well, your public safety environment has not adapted to that mobile lifestyle. I don't know how many people in the room know today that if you dial 999 here and say someone's beating me up, and then you run, they're going to look for you from where you called, not from where you're running to. And that is just the beginning of that conversation, because when we start identifying all of the sensors, we're suddenly start saying, well, if we're doing an IoT, do we need someone to dial 999 before we dispatch? And this is the conversation that IoT actually starts talking, smart cities starts having with the public safety element to say, how do we leverage all of that investment to actually drive a better, safer community? The Carbyne vision of where we come from is that we actually want to deliver the world's best unified emergency system with a mission of saving lives. And we can save lives by having it more efficient, the right resources at the right time. Now, from an organization, we are a global company. We have operations all over the world at this point in time, and we're really looking for that opportunity, which is why I'm standing here in Hull today, because there's a lot of energy around smart cities here, and that is why Carbyne really wants to deliver this next generation of 911 or 999 here. Now, a standard incident data flow is going to be about many to one to many. You've got many inputs, and those inputs are only growing. And then we've got one person that's going to have to synthesize this information, and they're going to have to be aided by technology. And then we've got to push all that information out to the many responders who are then going to actually show up on scene. Now, the way that we do that and we facilitate that is we have this ecosphere of solutions for safe cities. This ecosphere is able to be scalable. It's built on Cisco's best case technologies, so we're not redeveloping the wheel here. And it's about having hardened systems that were designed for DoD that we can actually deploy in the smallest or the largest environments. That means that it can scale down to a school, it can scale up to a city of London, and everything in between. Now, the important thing, and where this really all begins, is how do we actually start receiving this information in? As this plays through, we show that we can actually start grabbing the video from cell phones. And that's a very key important piece. If we can grab the video from cell phones, doesn't that give our responders more information of what they're going into? Doesn't that tell whether we need to bring 2 ambulances or 1, 3 fire trucks or 2, or 5 police versus 1? Now, once this is all brought in, now the important piece is mapping that. And this is one of the greatest values, is if we can suddenly map every single call into a single environment, now we suddenly have situational awareness of what's going on. With situational awareness, we can now start saying, is this a single incident, or is this coordinated incidents or related incidents? Is this incident related to a sensor that's setting off? We've got a water main leak with all these sensors that are saying that cars are slipping. Now, with all this information that's coming in, this can now be shared with this dashboard to multiple different sensors or multiple different agencies. And so this can be in the Met Police and the NHS. It can be in the City Council, and we can bring in the cameras and social media to really feed into this information stack. Now, another piece of this is making sure that the person receiving these calls is synthesizing the data at the local level. And in that, we're able to provide a lot of information, not to mention the video, the speech-to-text, keyword highlights, so that they can start focusing on what the individual needs and not that information coming in. This is going slow. I'm just going to skip past this because you're just going to see the same video again. Now, it's important to have a flexible solution that's not just something that replaces, but something that overlays existing infrastructure. Because if you're coming into an entire community and you need to feed this mapping solution, then you want to bring in a variable answering solution. And that's where we have these solutions that don't replace the call flow, but they do add the data layer. And it's important to have that flexibility so that we can see exactly what's going on. regardless of the underlying telephony technology that's there. So this information now provides us with the ability to look at trends and look at patterns. And we have the ability to take all that information and look at historical history to say what patterns we have. Now, what's really fascinating is you take this overlaid with the City OS system that Connexin is bringing and look at air quality as it relates to 111 calls. Or you look at the changes to air quality that develops from a recent fire. And those types of patterns really help you understand from the data, the power of the data, what is actually going on and what can we do to mitigate that risk. Now, there's some interesting use cases that come from this. There's interesting use cases such as at schools, you can do proactive following of people so that you can get escorts to cars. With video being shared, we can actually plug into smart lighting systems. We can change that. And we can actually reach into the parking meters and during fires to make sure that they're not saying, hey, there's parking available around this fire where all the cars have been removed. We also have opportunities working in transit management so that within transportation, you can understand that the road conditions are now dangerous for the cars versus the cars telling you, I just went off the road. And this is going to become even more important as we suddenly have our first autonomous car accident where there's not even an individual involved, yet there's impact to the environment. So we are really excited about working with in this environment. We are really looking forward to what opportunities we have with the city councils in this environment, working with our partner Connexin, and taking that City OS and building it for public safety. Thank you very much.